Hey, Gran Turismo fans, today I am going to talk to you about something that I just randomly seen on a couple of different websites, and it's kind of made me confused, and I want to know what your thoughts are towards this idea. So, I've seen on a couple of different websites that say that this is an actual leak from the company Polyphonic Digital. I probably butchered that name, but the makers of Gran Turismo, that somebody leaked a secret about the game, and that is that there are going to be custom track editing software on there where you can basically make your own track. So this is something that I don't think has ever been in Gran Turismo before, and it's kind of a neat feature that I have seen a few games have, one being Grand Theft Auto, and it's kind of interesting. So you could probably make one of the most difficult tracks or one of the most easiest tracks to see what your actual maybe fastest time in a circle could be, or whatever it could be. It doesn't matter. But what are your thoughts on this? Because I personally thought that this was kind of cool. So just imagine where you're going to make a track, and you could actually put that track anywhere you would like in the entire world. So you could have like your home track here in Ontario, Canada, if you're from Ontario, Canada, and somebody could then be able to see the track and interact with it and be a fake track. But if this was to come out, I personally think if this was truly a leak, I'm not going to take it in the way that most will. So a lot of those people who are commenting about this are saying, oh, anyone in the entire world is going to be able to make a track, it's going to be super cool, blah, 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 blah. That seems like an interesting idea, I'm not going to lie, but what I really think this leak is not about individual random people making tracks. I personally think that this is going to be software, possibly, that they could release to local governing racing bodies to make their own track with it. And what I mean by this is, here in Canada, in Ontario, we have the Greater Toronto Motorsports Parkway, we call it MoSport. It's a world-renowned track. Real races have happened on that track, and I have been on it myself, and it's the long stretch is a lot of fun. You can get your car up to some pretty crazy speeds. Now, you just seen me crash into that Ferrari, and you're gonna see at the end of this video that they still called it a clean race, so something happened there. Either way, that's what I think it's what this leak is actually about. And this is one way that you can actually basically make your game bigger without having to have extra software editors, is to create a piece of software where somebody who you allow can create a 3D rendering of a track, and then from there they can upload it to Polyphonic Digital's website or their server or whatever, and then an update would come out for the game, and now you get 10 or 20 new tracks. So if this is the leak that is what it's meant to be, which is not for random people making tracks, but for local governing bodies to make their own real life tracks, then that seems kind of interesting. We're going to be able to see a whole bunch of these random dirt tracks, possibly out in the middle of the United States, and that would be kind of cool. And there's a whole bunch of dirt tracks, at least all over North America, of these small little towns have their local dirt tracks, and that would be kind of cool if they actually release software for local governing bodies of racing events can just upload their tracks and say where they are from and be able to do that. And instead of having 100 million random tracks from random people, you would have a set number of very high quality tracks that are in real life and you can actually race on around the world. Now, if this is a thing, that would be a lot of fun, because I'm going to tell you, they probably will already have MoSport on the game, I've seen it on Project Cars and a couple of other games, so that track is probably going to be in the game. If it isn't, then this would be a fantastic way of being able to put that track on the game. And then different tracks around the world that we just don't see ever or even hear of. I know, for example, there's an old dirt track up in where we used to go camping when I was a kid. And then you can also have somebody like McFarlane from that YouTube channel where he bought an old racetrack and he's revamping it up. He could put his track on the game. So I personally think that this could lead to a massive expansion into how many tracks are on Gran Turismo. If they can do that whole idea of maybe having the public do their tracks, there's going to be a couple billion tracks, and it's probably not going to be all that much fun, because then there's always going to be a new track and you have to relearn that new track every single race. But what I think is, if this was to happen, it would be real person tracks, and that would be a lot of fun too, because now we have, instead of 20 tracks or 30 tracks, we now have 150 tracks around the world. Maybe we can get street races like the Toronto Grand Prix, where they close down half of Toronto downtown and run a Grand Prix race downtown Toronto. We could have city tracks then. That'd be kind of cool. These are my thoughts. I hope to hear from you as well. Comment below. I'll see you guys again next time. Hit that like button and subscribe.